So I think what people are trying to show is that they have a fun side, which is amazing. But don't put that in your dating picture. Again, you have like a nanosecond, right, to make a good impression. And that's save that for later.
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning back into Second Act TV. Tina Gesso is back with us for another episode talking Finding Love After 50. Tina, thanks so much for staying over.
The other episode was so much fun. Can't wait to get into this one.
Yeah, all of our technical issues aside, this has been really fun. I feel like I'm getting to know you.
Yes, me too. It's been great.
That's funny. But you have such good advice. And on this episode, I would like to tune into something that I think hits home for all of us who have ever online dated. There are so many mistakes that unless you're aware of these things, if somebody tells you, you're bound to make a few. So let's talk about that today. What are some key, mistakes or some things? Do not do this, and avoid those pitfalls of online dating.
You know what? It used to be that it would take a person 30 seconds to make a great first impression. A few years ago, that went down to 7 seconds. I think it's a nanosecond now, right, to make a good impression. So what that means is that your pictures have to be stellar, right? They have to be good pictures that portray you in a great light and that show you at your best doing different activities, things that you're interested with, maybe socializing a little bit as well. And would you like me to give a couple of tips on taking a really kick-ass picture for your profile?
Exactly. Let's say do both. Here's what you want, and definitely don't do this.
Yeah, exactly. So in other words, don't not have great pictures. Following that, a double negative makes a positive. So basically what you should do in getting your picture ready, and you don't have to go out and spend a fortune on a photographer. First thing is to face the light, right? Because you want to really look your best, and that's a great way to do it. Natural light is the best if possible, or if you have a ring light or something like that that you can use, that would be awesome. As well as, look the camera in the eye. And that's a big one, actually, because the person can really feel like you're looking at them. And look up. Silka, I'm sure you've seen lots of, I know it's been a little while for you, but, you look at some of these profile pictures and people are looking down sometimes, and you're not catching your best side, right? Sometimes you have an extra chin or two that you don't normally have, and that's not what you want to highlight, right? So always try to look up a little bit. And I think more than anything is to have a great smile, right? Just really show those pearly whites. And I even have advised a few of my clients, if it's been a while, why not, look at, doing something with their teeth, potentially something pretty straightforward, like Crest white strips, for example. That can go a long way.
They're fabulous.
Your smile.
Yeah. No, you bring up, it's funny, again, the difference between that 8 years really makes, because I think profile pictures, even 8 years ago, they weren't as selfie intense.
Right.
And the ones that were really awkward. And I think, for the don'ts, and this is maybe more men even than women per se, but those bathroom selfies in the mirror and shirtless, and I would talk that on other videos. But yeah, the angle and the lighting, it's easy to get that right. It's not that difficult. Yeah.
You know what? This one is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine because I've seen so many. I've been on and off online dating, or I had been for a few years. So some of the pictures that I saw were just crazy. So you just mentioned a bathroom selfie, for example, and also wearing baseball hats, sunglasses. You kind of think that when you see that in every single picture that someone has a hat and glasses on, it's almost like they're trying to hide something. You know what I mean? Or maybe they're just not even conscious of it. But we want to see the real person, right? With or without hair, just be yourself. And that's what's beautiful. And that's what's sexy, when a person is confident in how they look. And as well, a lot of times, naked torso, definitely a no-no. And I don't know what is the big deal with dead fish, Silka, but it seems like I'd say 30-40% of the pictures that are out there of guys, they're holding a big fish. They're out on a fishing trip, which is great. They want to show that they, do some recreational things, and maybe that's a fun thing. They like to get back to nature and spend time with friends, but we don't need to see the big fish in front of them.
That is so funny. Sandy Weiner, who you probably have heard of her too, she's a dating coach after 50. That was one of the big things. Yeah, big fish. What is it with the fish? Guys, what is up with the fish? We just don't care about the fish. I'm sorry.
And costumes. Oh my gosh, costumes. I've seen guys in, Sylvester costumes with the big red nose, out trick or treating with again, they're trying to show, I think what people are trying to show is that they have a fun side, which is amazing. But don't put that in your dating picture. Again, you have like a nanosecond,
Yeah.
right? To make a good impression. And save that for later.
Yeah, certainly not as your main profile picture. Or I guess right now what I'm hearing is that people wear masks.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's like one or two or three of their profile pictures. It's crazy. You don't need to do that. We want to see, yes, you're compliant. Yes, you're conscious of your role in society and protecting yourself and those around you. That's amazing. But you don't have to put the mask as one of the pictures. You only have so many pictures that you can put up there. Why not make the most of every single one of them?
Yeah, and probably I've always thought maybe like right around five or so. Like two or one or two is not enough. Three maybe. 5 to 7 I always thought was. I think that's kind of well rounded. Like you're a real person.
Yeah, exactly. So what you want to have is something fairly close, like a portrait from, let's say, the neck up, at least one full body shot, right? So that the person can see, how you look physically, because that's really important, as well as maybe doing an activity, right? To show the different types of things that you're into, which the other person may identify with, maybe with some friends or a family member, but not every picture where you were with a bunch of people, because then we have to figure out which one are you, in all those pictures.
Right, exactly. Well, that's pictures obviously a big, don't do this, do this. What else?
Next, to think of your first date, right? So what not to do is to keep on continually texting.
Hmm.
Right? I hear so many people, and maybe you do as well, Silka, where the person seems to just want to keep on texting, either on that dating site or off the site, and they don't make a move to actually get together, either on a Zoom or a FaceTime date or in real life. And that's kind of a danger sign as well. Why are they delaying? Are they really serious? Are they available? Are they dating 10 other women and you're just, 10th in line type of thing,
Yeah.
right? So make sure that you get off texting as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't, at a minimum, connect on video, because that leads you into whether or not you're, being catfished, something else we'll talk about, or, breadcrumbed or whatever. But yeah, it is important. Texting is not a relationship. One more tip. What's one more? Absolutely don't do this.
Don't have unrealistic expectations. Don't think, even because you got your love list together, that the first couple of people that you're going to meet are necessarily going to meet all of those criteria. And sometimes I think what happens is that it's kind of like the universe presents us with people that we can learn from. So therefore, even though you think you might have it figured out as to the type of person you're looking for, really it's only by going out there, getting your feet wet, doing some dating on Zoom, obviously, or in real life, where you really have an idea concretely at this stage of your life, what you really like and what you don't. And maybe your initial love list was based on when you first started dating, maybe in your 20s, and you've been in a long-term relationship, and this is the first time you've been dating in a long time. So therefore, it's a really good idea to know that, dating can be fun, right? And it's a great way to get to know people. And instead of looking at it like a hunt, like you have to find the one right away and you have that expectation, that can lead to dating fatigue. That can lead to disappointment. That can lead to you even starting to lose hope for finding love. Whereas when you get into it, knowing that it could take a little while and that you are still kind of discovering yourself along the way, maybe you can relax with it and really enjoy the process.
Yeah. And don't take things personally, as long as
Yeah.
hard as that is to do. And I totally recognize that. But there is a difference between being rejected when you've been with someone and being rejected, in this process online, which it's not the same. We are
No.
getting to the end. Before we run out completely out of time, what else can we add here that is an absolute must do or do not do?
Yeah. So do not, okay, again, a double negative. Do not take the time to figure out your dating patterns or your relationship situation from the past, which may have been negative, which may have maybe even affected your self-esteem. So it's really, really important to make sure you don't repeat, because we tend to be creatures of habit. In order not to repeat the same habits from the past, particularly if you haven't had great experiences, it's really important to have dealt with that. So, sometimes a group of really great girlfriends can steer you along the right path and give you someone to talk to and get feedback on. But your friends really love you, right? And they really support you in general. So if you really want really honest feedback and want to make sure that you really assimilated the lessons from the past so that you don't repeat them going forward, sometimes it's a great idea to have a coach or a therapist in order to figure out that piece before you move forward. Because sometimes what happens too, Silka, is that we go into a dating situation, and without even being conscious of it, we are carrying our past on our back. We're carrying those judgments. We're carrying that hurt, even. And we're waiting for the person to trip up. We're waiting for that similarity to our last couple of boyfriends, for example. And the other person can feel it, the person that we're with. Whereas if you really are conscious of what has happened in the past, you've dealt with it, you've taken ownership of it, you've taken responsibility for it. It lightens you, right? It really does. And therefore it leaves you more open to discovering the special qualities of the person that's in front of you, instead of waiting for them to say something that's going to trap them into an answer so you can say, aha. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. That is such a great point. Leave the baggage at home and don't expect the same thing to happen over and over again. I had to work on that. I totally get it. And that is probably one of the most important things to be successful at finding love again. Tina, let's hold you over for one more segment with some more clarity on the online cyberspace dating world if you haven't been out there yet and haven't dated in a long time. So we'll see you next time on Second Act TV.
Okay. See you soon.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.